Hey guys, riddix beatbox here. So I had a poll on my Facebook page, and one person voted. Therefore, I'm going to go with what that one person asked. He asked for me to make another tutorial on the bass wubbles, whatever that means. So I'm assuming he means the noise. So I'm going to make a tutorial on how and basically how to use it and how to use it in a beat. So it's going to be a little more in depth. It's going to be bigger, longer than my original one. My original one was very brief, but hopefully this one will help you out. Alright, so your first step is honestly to listen to it a lot. Listen to the noise and envision how it's going to come out through your own throat, like how you think it's going to work. Because how I tell you to do it and how it's going to work for you is going to be kind of different, and it's going to be similar, but at the same time, you're going to have to figure out yourself on your own way as well. So the sound obviously it's a very low bass rumbly sound, so it's that's the sound that you can make. Anybody can make it, I promise. I've taught one of my friends how to do it, and she's a girl. So, I mean, she can make that noise. It's different, but, it's a higher pitch, but it's still that. Hers is more like a type pitch, but, it's low for a girl, and it's that same bass, butt shaking bass sound when it comes through a mic. It's really cool. Anyway, so the way to do it, so after you've listened to that sound and you know what you want to make, the key is to learn how to make it. So the way you start is you hum just any old note. So just so you just start humming, and and then you slowly start to bring it down in your throat, and you change the pitch down as you go with that. So now it feels like it's kind of right here is where that noise is coming from, right in this area. Okay, so you got that. And now you're going to send it back as far as you can in your throat. So like that feeling of here is going to come to the back and up a little bit. Like it's going to feel like it's on the back end of your throat. And what it's going to do is it's going to distort it. It's going to change it from and you get that vibrations. What it does is it distorts using your false vocal cords in the back of your throat. It vibrates those. So it's like instead of using your actual vocal cords to do this, it's your false vocal cords. That way it doesn't damage your throat, and it actually doesn't hurt at all. When you figure out how to use those, you don't feel any pain. You don't feel any of the negative side effects. People think like, oh my gosh, making that sound has to hurt so bad. It can if you do it wrong. If you do it right, you're going to be fine. So as long as you're using those false vocal cords, you're going to be fine. So you got the so when you start to get that, then you can start playing around with it. So really focus on moving it back and up. It's back and like kind of shifting it up is what it's gonna feel like you're moving it up through your throat. It's kind of weird, but with practice you can get it. I promise. So once you get the you can start learning how to change the pitch, which the way to do that is basically the same thing as humming. You're not gonna have as much as range on your throat bass, sorry, as you do humming. So you're gonna it's gonna sound weird, but you are changing your pitch, and for some things it's nice to have, like, so like say you're going bum 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 bum, and then you're like, oh, I'm gonna change it over bum 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 bum, stuff like that. So you get that, like, you can change it up, make it sound really cool, especially if you're performing, like with the 7 Nation Army beat. Dave Crow does that, so that's where I got that from. But that's how you're gonna learn how to do that kind of a thing, by practicing. When you get that, just work it up and down and around, and change everything about what you're doing, and you're gonna get different. Everything that you change will change your pitch. So say you're just not you keep your mouth closed. You're just straight with your original sound. Open your mouth. Just try opening your mouth. It's a different sound, and it actually projects better. So it's going to be louder. So you hear the changes for how that works, and then you can send it, like, what's really fun is to send it to the back of your throat with saying, it's like na 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 na, like, and you can make these really cool fading type sound effects. So like if you're in a beat, you're like, and you come in with like those kind of fade out, fade in, things like that. You get those really cool like changes, like how like in a dubstep song you get the escalation and then the drop, and so you're gonna drop, things like that. Now to do that higher treble noise, it's the same. Everything's same with your. Sorry, I'm sick. I'm not coughing because of this. I'm a little sick. Anyway, the way you create that treble noise, it's the same thing as your throat bass. So you're and then you're basically oh, I hate being sick. You're what you're doing is you're cutting out the lower harmonics for this. So and by doing that, basically you're sending it forward and up even more, and it just cuts out that lower harmonic somehow. I don't know the actual science behind it or anything like that, but the way you're doing it is you're just, if you can make that lower noise, it's actually surprisingly easy to make the really high trebly noises. Just play around with it, you'll get it. If you don't, ask me about it. Feel free to comment, or message me on Facebook, anything, post on the page, do whatever you need to do. I'm here to help. But basically, the key to this is practice, 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 practice. Every day, it's gonna hurt. I I went through about a month and a half of practicing probably every day to get this noise. It probably wasn't my best idea to do it every day like the way I did, because I did end up hurting my throat some, because I was doing it wrong. I was just trying to use my vocal cords instead of my false vocal cords. I had to try to figure all this out. Water. Water is your best friend when it comes to learning this. Because your throat just starts to get dry, irritable, and then you try to vibrate it like that, it just it's like scraping bone on bone. It's not fun. Water, make sure you're hydrated when you start to learn this. Later on, when you get it more and you have that feeling and you're doing it with your false vocal cords, water isn't as important, but it always helps. Water is always very important for your throat for any kind of noises you're doing. Okay, so the next I promise to teach you how to use it in a beat, or show you some kind of dubstep type simple beat that will make you sound cool, but you can throw the throat bass in. So, a simple one is just a driving kick with an occasional throat bass. So, so that's a good one. It's very simple. It's just a bass kick, and then in the gaps, to make that, it's just wub wub, but and then you can start adding a snare in it, which most dubstep songs, if you listen to it, has a that's the underlying beat normally, and then they add the hi-hats, synth, pads, effects, and then the drop obviously, but there's always an underlying, and that's very important when you're beatboxing to have that underlying layer, or else you get a gap in sound. And gaps in sound is what makes the difference between a really good beatboxer who can go for long periods of time with no gaps, even if it's just a simple like, and I can breathe in between those. So you can continue it. You need to learn how to do that continuation. But when you can do that, and then getting that continuation is what's gonna make you sound like you know what you're doing. It makes me sound like I know what I'm doing. I'm okay, but I'm not a professional yet. But I hope you liked this tutorial. Hopefully it helped you. Remember, practice, practice, practice. Just gallons of water. Just chug water. Don't drown, but chug water. Okay. Good luck, guys. I really hope to hear some of you guys posting videos or responses or something, so I know I've helped you guys out, or it's nice to have that communication. So subscribe, like, anything you need. Right? Thanks.